This is the story of Abigail. Abigail was like many young people you might know today. She didn't really fit in. She didn't have a peer group that was real large. She occasionally had depression, anxiety in her life. She felt very uncomfortable as her body was going through puberty. And instead of getting help, instead of talking to her parents, here's what she ended up doing. She ended up going to the few friends she had, and they told her, they said, hey, what you really need to do is contact this new group. It was a culture she was totally unaware of. They told her, they said, you need to look at these videos on YouTube and Twitter and Reddit. And so she began binge watching. And what she discovered was a totally new world that was about to transform her life, quite literally. It was the world of transgenderism. For weeks, she paid attention. She read the chat room, the comments, all the different things that were going on, until finally one day she decided she would express to her newfound friends that she thought she might be trans. And on that particular day, Abigail was absolutely love bombed. Now, just to make sure you understand what that means, she, within just a matter of 24 hours, received quite literally hundreds of comments, likes, private messages, people who were sympathetic to where she was in her life. Never before had she received that many comments, that many likes. And so they started offering advice. They told her, you need to take puberty blockers like Lupron, or you need to go to your guidance counselor at school and see if you can get on testosterone, a male hormone that causes lots of physical changes. And so she did. She took their advice. She began to do things like wear a chest binder. She began to take testosterone. And yes, it made her mentally fuzzy at first, but she really, really liked the trade-off. She liked the fact that suddenly her face was starting to grow hair. She was starting to bulk up some. And all the while, her friends kept pushing her. They kept telling her, look, you need to take that next step. And so at the tender age of 16, without her parents really being involved, she actually had surgery, a radical mastectomy. She was now a full-blown member of the trans community, and she had the scars to prove it. And she was absolutely elated. And she was excited for a little while. And one of the things that happened during all of this was some of her friends actually started to follow suit. They realized, man, she's getting all this attention, she's getting comments, she's getting likes. And so lo and behold, some of the people in her friend group at school, they decided they also would transition. And so now she found herself in a group. And as I said, for a little while, she was excited. She was elated. But then she realized that void, the feelings of depression, they were still there. And in fact, what she realized is she really liked boys. Yeah, she'd gone to the trouble of changing her name to a boy name. She'd even had a major fight with her parents. She started using masculine pronouns. But at the end of the day, none of that really fixed the problem. The problem was she realized deep down, she was a girl. The scenario that I just described to you has become an absolute contagion that is spreading all across this country. I personally have run into it in several different states where where people are telling me, sharing stories about how there are now transgender people in their high school, there are transgender people in their congregation, or there's children in their own homes who are wrestling. And folks, please understand, this is one of those topics that parents desperately need to be informed on. The mainstream media, politicians, they would tell you that there's nothing to worry about. In fact, Dr. Levin, who is the Assistant Secretary for Health, says there's nothing to fear here, that we're not pushing kids into this particular lifestyle. And yet the numbers tell a totally different story. The numbers paint a picture that should be frighteningly alarming to every parent across this country. There's been a 4,000% increase in young people identifying as transgender as of 2018. 4,000% increase. In fact, when you look at it across the planet, all you see are charts and graphs that go up. Now, if that doesn't completely wake you up, let me make sure you understand just how big this problem is. In the year 2007, the Boston Children's Clinic was the only place, just one, in the United States of America that would perform sexual reassignment surgeries on minors. That is, sex changes on young people. There was one. Today, there's over 50. Now, folks, let me just go ahead and tell you something. That right there should be labeled child abuse. What I want us to do is I want us to look at all of this gender confusion and discern for ourselves what's really going on and what is really the truth.